guys! Oh my god, so lame. I'm so lame. I try every time to be like normal and natural when I say hi to you guys, and I'm just not used to it. So I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. I don't think I'm capable of not being awkward, but hey, it's me, Kelly. Oh, and Nova's here to join us. Oh my gosh, hey Nova, say hi to our friends. I think she knows. I think she knows you guys are in there. I mean, out there. But I think she knows that the phone is like, she's reaching up right now, looking at it. Look, see, huh? Nova's here. Yeah, Nova, these are all my Star Wars friends. Yeah, she knows how much mommy, ow, ooh, oh. She didn't intentionally do that. I dropped her and her claws just went right into my leg. That hurt. But she knows how much mommy loves Star Wars, so I think she really appreciates you guys. I know I do. But anyway, before that distraction, what was I talking about? Who cares? I have in front of me my computer screen because I thought we could do a little research today. Keeping in the same vein as kind of wanting to continue to enjoy Star Wars despite the division and the derision that's going on these days in the overall Star Wars universe and divided fandom that we see going on. I want to try to keep up our love and interest and just the joy of Star Wars again. And I think one of the ways to do that is to kind of like keep up with current events going on with Star Wars and the fans and the creative minds. Although I don't think they're very creative. I don't think their motivation is art anymore. Let's just put it that way. I don't think their motivation is creating art anymore. I think their motivations are purely social and political. And I have no problem with that. I want to make that known. I have no problem with using art as your platform for a political or social message. If you do it well, and you're not doing it well, you're writing bad characters and bad stories and bad plot lines, and you're hiring people to do your bidding that honestly, I'm just so confused. But anyway, let's not get into all that. Let's not get into all that. Let's try to keep it positive and keep it happy. And one of the things that I've been wanting to do on my channel has been talking about different parts of Star Wars that I always found fascinating, some of which happen within canon and some of which are part of the extended universe that we don't really get to hear about. One of those things are the Bomar monks. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I find those absolutely fascinating, and I'd love to do an episode where I talk about those because I love that. I also think the Tusken Raiders or Sand People are very, very interesting if you really get into their whole anthropological background. They're a very interesting humanoid species to follow. And also the WHILLS, which just so happened to come up today in Star Wars news. So today in Star Wars news, we're going to be talking about what George Lucas would have done had he still retained ownership of Star Wars and not sold it to Disney. So would it have been better? Would it have been worse? Would it have been good, bad, interesting? I don't know. But what it would have had were WHILLS on a microbiotic level. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if he said microbiotic. I don't remember. I have not read the entire article. So, and I'm sorry if I keep looking at myself in the camera because it's just this lighting. I usually film when there's some natural light out when I get home from work, and I feel like I look like a normal human being, and right now I just I don't know. But anyway, that doesn't matter because we're talking about Star Wars, so who cares? I'm wearing my Star Wars shirt. I got my Rebel Alliance earrings on. It's all good. It's all good. A New Hope, to be specific. True Star Wars. Yeah, according to me at least. So here's this article. I'm pulling up this particular one from space.com because it's space.com. Fans buzzing over George Lucas's purported plans for Star Wars episodes 7 through 9. Star Wars creator George Lucas has hinted over the years about his vision for episodes 7 through 9, and now some new info points to his intention at one point to use a group of characters he himself axed from the script of Star Wars A New Hope. Ooh. I'm not going to read this whole article. Maybe I will. Yeah, I don't know yet. We'll see. Transformers artist Livio Ramondelli has shared what's purported to be a juicy excerpt from George Lucas's... I forgot the apostrophe. Oh, from a George Lucas interview. Recently released... Nova's trying to lift weights. Recently released James Cameron's story of science fiction. Take a look. George Lucas. The next 3 Star Wars films, we're going to get into a microbiotic world. I was right. It was microbiotic. But there's this world of creatures that operate differently than we do. I call them the WHILLS. WHILLS. And the WHILLS are the ones who actually control the universe. They feed off the Force. Do you like my George Lucas voice? It's like spot on. It's like spooky how George Lucas-y it is, right? I mean, talented. Yeah, just channeling him. If I'd held on to the company, I could have done it, and then it would have been done. Of course, a lot of the fans would have hated it. Yeah. Well, maybe not. That's the thing. Look at one of my favorite films of all time is Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life. Now, if you look at that film, if you look at it without context, right? If you look at it on paper, it's just a jumbled mess. I mean, there are scenes in that movie where there is no dialogue, and I don't even think sound for like 10 minutes at a time. And it starts on I wouldn't say a microbiotic level, but it kind of starts with like, well, I mean, it doesn't start. It happens like halfway through the movie or something, which is even more interesting. But there's a big bang, and there's evolution, and there's a scene with dinosaurs, and then you have Brad Pitt and Sean Penn leading these lives, and then children and growth and death. And like, listen, you can make a really good movie regardless of what the content is. And that's the thing that these people need to realize. I don't care. You can cast anybody you want. You can write any kind of character you want. Just write them well. Cast talented actors and write good roles and write good stories. And then I don't care what you do. I don't have to watch another movie with another white man ever again. No offense, white men. You're great and you've played lots of great characters. But as long as you cast the right people, write the right roles, and write the story well enough, I'll watch it. But the problem is these roles are not being written in an artful and meaningful way. And these sorry, that was a rant. I caught myself. That was a rant. I'm done. I'm not ranting anymore. I'm being a Jedi now. Back to the light side. Okay, here we go. All right, let me finish this up. Of course, a lot of the fans would have hated it, just like they did Phantom Menace and everything, but at least the whole story from beginning to end would be told. I just feel so bad for George Lucas. Oh, like, just, George, it's okay. I know, it sucks. Poor George. We don't hate you. We love you, George. I really do. I know I gave him so much, like, not him personally, but like, just me venting about Star Wars and like what he changed about it and everything. Like, I know a lot of people, and the people versus George Lucas, and a lot of the fandom is very divided on the prequels. And like, I'm learning to appreciate and let it go. And listen, I don't think I'll ever be a big fan of the prequels. I can appreciate and respect elements of them, but that's just who I am. But I can respect and appreciate the people that love them, and that's what matters. So anyway, let's keep reading. Okay. The microbiotic world sounds like the midichlorians Lucas introduced in A Phantom Menace. The Whills are one of the franchise's oldest concepts. That race in their book, The Journal of The WHILLS, were present in the earliest drafts of Lucas's initial script for what became Star Wars: A New Hope. Although Lucas himself removed it by the final draft, they were mentioned in the novelization and were later references in various media, including the Clone Wars. I watched those episodes, by the way, because I kind of like scrolled through the Clone Wars when it was on my Netflix, because I think it used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is. I should see that if it is. And that one looked really interesting to me, so I watched those episodes, which were pretty interesting. I kind of want to rewatch them. Maybe I will. Still better Star Wars than The Last Jedi, that's for sure. Animated series, and twice in the in-continuity descriptions of a weapon and a building in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Oh, I don't remember that in Rogue One. Cool. I did like Rogue One, by the way. I did appreciate it. Lucas previously said that following the sale of the Star Wars franchise to the Walt Disney Company, he passed along his notes for this important trilogy to the Star Wars story group to use as they wish. Oh, poor George. Here, you can use it if you want to. You don't have to. I mean, I birthed Star Wars, so just, oh God, poor George. That's the article, that's it. But I have Wikipedia up here, and we can look at Wikipedia about the Whills. Let's read about the Whills. Here we go. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how much fun this is. I love how Wikipedia is literally laid out just like, sorry, Donald Glover's winking at me right now. It's just awkward. He looks nothing like Lando. Aw. Hey, Donald. Hey, Lando. Ish. Hey, Lando. Ish. Anyway. Alright, let's read this. Let's read this together. The ancient order of the Whills was a higher order of beings deeply connected with the Force. I mean, sounds like me. I could be a Will. I'm sure Whills can be female. I think they are, actually. I feel like they were portrayed as kind of feminine from what I remember. They looked kind of like those Japanese anime, like, I don't know what they're called, but like from like Spirited Away, that figure that kind of like follows the protagonist and has that like face. I don't know. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Deeply connected with the Force, like me. They consisted of holy people known as shamans. Ooh, apparently this is a quote from Qui-Gon Jinn to Yoda. The ability to defy oblivion can be achieved, but only for oneself. It was accomplished by a shaman of the Whills. It is a state acquired through compassion, not greed. See, and that's the problem, Disney, is you're acting like you're creating this new Star Wars out of compassion. But at the end of the day, it's greed. And you wanting people to view you in a very specific way. Don't fool yourselves. You're not fooling us. Okay, I'm done. I'm trying to not make myself part of that whole like dialogue. It's like hating Star Wars. I don't hate Star Wars. I love Star Wars so much, but it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. It's hard to be a fan. I'm sorry. It's hard to be a fan right now. I'll never stop being a fan. Ever. I love you, Star Wars. But it's hard. One of the shamans was known to have discovered the secret of eternal consciousness, and later, Qui-Gon Jinn learned the secret, allowing him to interact with the living after his death. Cool, Qui-Gon. The Whills kept a collection of stories called the Journal of the WHILLS that chronicled the history of the galaxy. A keeper of the Whills was responsible for adding new information into it. One such keeper was told the story of the Skywalker family's exploits during the Clone Wars and the Galactic Civil War by the I could never pronounce this, whatever R2 is, astromech droid, R2-D2, and 100 years after the Battle of Endor. R2. Whoa, I just realized that R2 has all the information. He always did. That's so cool. Gotta love R2. I mean, man, what a cool little guy. Behind the scenes, in early drafts of A New Hope, the name Whills is equivalent to the Force. Originally, oh, this is George Lucas. Let me get my George Lucas. I'm gonna channel him again, if you guys don't mind. Like a medium right now for the living. Originally, I was trying to have the story be told by someone else, an immortal being known as a Will. There was somebody watching this whole story and recording it. Somebody probably wiser than the mortal players in the actual events. I eventually dropped this idea, and the concepts behind the Whills turned into the Force. But the Whills became part of this massive amount of notes, quotes, background information that I used for the scripts. The stories were actually taken from the Journal of the WHILLS. It's so funny because as I'm doing the impression, I'm like picturing him saying it the way I'm doing the impression. I'm like, oh, George, so cute. It is a common misconception that Will is the name of the unknown species of Yoda. Psh, psh, beginners, come on. Psh. Will. Yoda ain't no Will. Yoda's his own special little guy. George Lucas has firmly denied this because their form is totally unknown, and since the Whills were an early concept of the Force, some fans have speculated the Whills are of spiritual substance more or less like Wisties. Ooh, Wisties. I'm gonna open that tab for later, baby. And probably immortal. However, this is unlikely to be true, as Star Wars Episode 2, Revenge of the Sith, illustrated screenplay, and The Art of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, both have Qui-Gon Jinn stating that he knew of only one shaman who had achieved immortality. However, Qui-Gon also states in the Revenge of the Sith novelization that immortality is a possible end result for working with the Whills' teachings. Ooh. Since the journal was composed in 104 ABY, so that's 104 years after the Battle of Yavin, yeah, I know that, baby. It's possible that the events explored in the Star Wars Legacy were not part of the narration. In fact, it is unclear to what extent the narration covered the history of the galaxy as we know it. The idea of Jinn learning the secrets of immortality from a shaman of the Whills was later contradicted by voices from Star Wars The Clone Wars, which indicated that he had learned from the Force priestesses. Oh, that's who I was thinking of. Was I thinking of that? But his training was incomplete. George Lucas originally planned a sequel trilogy focusing on the Whills as microscopic beings that controlled the destiny of the galaxy. Well, George, I'm kind of glad that didn't become a thing. It might have been better. I feel like if I'm talking to George in my head, I'm not actually talking to George, but like if I could give George Lucas advice, it would be back away from the CGI and the green screens and focus a little more on your characters and your actors and the story and the meaningful moments and exchanges between them, because it felt like there was none of that in the prequels, which is what I had the hardest time absorbing, because I felt like it was just all action. And even when characters were together, even on Mustafar, which should have been one of the most heavy, dark, incredible scenes, all I could think of the whole time was like, it's just Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. Sorry, Ethan, comic book pro Ethan. By the way, I've had his song stuck in my head all day. I've been singing it. I was singing it at work. And I was like, I'll save the last piece of George for you. That song he has. Oh my god, it's so goofy. If you guys watch his channel, he's so funny. The songs, I can't. It's just funny. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, it's just Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen jumping around on a green screen and a green mat, and like, it's just, there's nothing real there, and it's hard. It's hard for me as somebody that grew up without all the special effects, and I grew up with practical effects. I grew up with like either seeing films that had no special effects, or if they did, it was like puppetry, and you were actually like, at least like, yeah, like Yoda wasn't real, but like Mark Hamill was on the set with Frank Oz and the Yoda puppet interacting, and I don't know. I think George Lucas used the CGI and the green screens as a crutch, and I think it really took away from the story. I mean, he literally created so many characters that could not even be in the room with these people. You had people acting against tennis balls to show them with the placement of I remember seeing like they released like an extra, like a special thing, or I don't know, something before the movies even came out into theaters, and I remember seeing like the behind the scenes featurettes and whatever before the movies came out, and I was a kid. I don't remember how old I was when they came out, but I was like this doesn't, like, why are, like, they were showing them like just rolling around on mats, and that green mats, because clearly they weren't in any real world, and like they had like balls showing them where the other character would be in space, and just, I don't know, I think the prequels could have been good, which is why, you know, I think I would love to see Ivan Ortega do some fan edit, or he's not even a fan, he's like so much better than a fan, he's so talented, that guy, oh my gosh, do an edit of the prequels, even if it's just like, he doesn't do like a full length thing like the way he's doing with The Last Jedi, even if you could just do some of the like really good scenes, if you could just like edit it, but I don't even know how much you could work with, because it's like, there's just so much CGI in there, it's hard to work with that and make that more meaningful. But anyway, guys, those are the Whills for you, and I just noticed that I reached 250 subscribers today, so I'm super like shocked, because I just like, what? That's crazy. I can't believe that, but it's so special. I love you guys. I feel so lucky that I started out by just being so upset that I felt like I had to record a video to express my feelings about The Last Jedi, and how much I just was like devastated by how poorly done it was, and literally it's become me feeling like I have a community of people to talk about Star Wars with that I never had growing up. I never had people I could talk about Star Wars with. Never. I mean, I did here and there, but it was like few and far between. Because most people like that knew that like I liked Star Wars thought I was a weirdo or a nerd, and then like the people that did know, that like did appreciate Star Wars, I feel like they just like didn't believe that I actually loved Star Wars as much as I did, which is really ironic, because I feel like now if they see me, they're gonna be like, wait, she really did love Star Wars. Like, yeah, like obsessed. But I was also so shy that the last thing I wanted to do was let people know how much I loved Star Wars too. So it was like, it kind of like kept it close. Like I would never just be like, I love Star Wars, because like I would be ridiculed for it. Like I remember kids making fun of me and be like, oh, you're so weird, you're such a nerd. I love that now, that's cool. But hey, what are you gonna do? That's me. I'm a nerd and I love it. So anyway, you guys are awesome. Yeah, sorry, a video started playing on Wikipedia, an ad. Of course, because that's what Star Wars is now. It's just money, baby. Just money, that's all. Come get your Star Wars. It's the latest edition. It's got things and people and things and ideas and concepts and things that you should agree with. And if you don't, you're wrong. You're crazy. You're a man living in his mother's basement. So yeah, this turned into a rant. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the Whills. May the Force be with you. And I hope you enjoyed meeting Nova, who just jumped to the top of the bathroom door, which means I have to go get her before she jumps and hurts herself. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a great night.